Welcome back to Hardball on our roundtable. Chuck Todd is NBC's political director. Howard Kurtz is the author of the new book, Reality Show, Inside the Last Great Television News War. And Jennifer Sr. is with New York Magazine. Let's go to Chuck. Who's the next guy to drop out of this presidential race? Let's start on the Republican side. We lost Brownback today. Who do you think is the likely next fallout?
Well, I guess what's your line? I mean, I think we basically have three tiers of candidates. You have the definite sort of first tier of Romney, Giuliani, and McCain. Then you have sitting there, Romney, Giuliani, and Thompson. Then you have McCain and Huckabee, who both are doing well in the polls but don't have a lot of resources. And then you have these other guys, Tancredo and Hunter. And I guess, you know, how long are they going to get the free airtime? And I think that's where you got to ask yourself is how long can those guys keep doing this and not showing progress?
Do you hear word, Howie, that there may be an effort by the networks, I haven't heard it, to try to narrow this field so the voters can focus on the real front-runners?
Oh, that's already happening. You look at the TV coverage. When was the last time you saw Tom Tancredo or Duncan Hunter on the network evening news? I mean, on the Democratic side, it's Hillary, and a little Obama. On the Republican side, it's Rudy, Romney. Thompson obviously got a lot of attention when he came out. I think the first guy on the Republican side to drop out is Stephen Colbert. I'm not sure he's going to make it all the way to South Carolina.
He may not, but he's making it probably to a bestseller. Let me go to Jennifer. What do you hear? I mean, I guess there's people like Duncan Hunter and Tancredo and Ron Paul. They're going to have a hard time getting into the winner's circle here.
Yeah, they're freeloaders. I mean, this is wonderful for their careers in some other way, I'm sure. It's terrific. But, you know, at some point somebody's going to see that they're of marginal value in this particular discussion, I think.
Chuck, have you heard anything about trying to set up real debates among the real front-runners of the Democratic side, maybe going as far down as Richardson, but trying to get a corral of just 3 or 4 or even 2 so that the American people can focus on the real choices coming up in Iowa and New Hampshire?
Can I plead the fifth on this one, Chris? I feel like you're putting me in a position to talking about this stuff on the air. Look, you know, I think there's always a desire to try to have as many of the more reasonable, likely nominees in a smaller setting so that you can have a real debate between these folks. Look, I've talked to a lot of the campaigns who say to me, and they say to me, you know, on background, hey, they'd love if the field were just 4 or 5 candidates. And
would Hillary really like it narrow?
Runners that say this, but then when you start saying, okay, fine, we'll do it, will you back us up? They won't back us. You know, it's a game, and none of them really want to see this field narrowed.
The problem, Chris, is that none of the networks have the nerve to do it. Obviously, to put 3 or 4 top-tier candidates on a stage, limited to somebody who might plausibly occupy the Oval Office, would be a great service to the American people, but they would take a lot of heat for who they decide to exclude, and network executives are scared of doing it.
Howard,
but there's no
I'll email him.
But there's no fairness. Howie,
people shut down your email server.
Howie, you know the law here. There's no fairness, doctor, or equal time requirement that stops them from doing it, right?
Absolutely not. It's just simply a fear of the backlash, and there would be a considerable backlash.
Jennifer, would it be good for the country? How about a value judgment from you, dear? Is it good for the country to narrow this field so that we can actually get our eyes focused on the 3 or 4 people who have a good shot?
I mean, I just actually called them freeloaders on television, about which I feel slightly bad. But at the same time, I think that, like, one has to wonder at a certain point whether this is a constructive way to keep diffusing the conversation.
I'll tell you, Rudy Giuliani wants to bring Ron Paul into every debate for the rest of his life because he does this alley-oop play. Every time Ron Paul gives the libertarian, anti-neoconservative argument, Rudy says, what about 9/11, and gets the home run again. We'll be right back with the roundtable. You're watching Hardball, only on MSNBC.
Hardball debate is brought to you by
home run my ass.
Responsibility.